Hello everyone, this is Jim, and for this week 6 women video, just want to go over some things you can do to customize your forms. For this week's assignment, I think you have to go back to the Penguins database and customize the form that you previously had created. And so this is kind of a nice thing. You can kind of get the forms looking the way you want to in your Access database and make it easier for data entry or reviewing the records in the tables that your form is connected to. So what I'm going to do is go into my database I've been kind of using the last few videos, and I'm going to go to my Create tab, and we'll create a blank form here that's connected to a table, and I actually want to create this so it's connected to my customers table. And at this point, I have my form, and we're kind of like in a different view and layout view. I'm going to go into Design View. So Design View gives you a lot of ability to customize things the way you want to exactly, including adding some controls on your form. So I'm going to Design View. Controls are basically just the things that display the information from your fields in your table. And so they're going to be basically called bound controls. So all these controls I'll be putting on the form today will be bound to a particular field in my table. Easy way now, I got my different tables showing up here on the right hand side for my field list area. And I can certainly create a form based on any table I've got in my database at this point. But again, I'm going to use the customers table as my basis. So I'm going to go ahead and put the fields on my form. And as you see, I'm just clicking and holding down my left mouse button and dragging them over. You'll see the associated text boxes come in on the right-hand side, and then the label comes in on the left-hand side. So it's a pretty easy process. Or you can just double-click on these, and they'll come in. Although, of course, then they kind of zap in wherever they want to, so you need to kind of move these around as you do that. Now you can see when I grabbed in the middle portion of this address text box, both the label and the text box moved. If I want to just move one object, I just go to the upper left-hand corner of that object, that control, and it'll just move by itself. So by working this way, the upper left-hand corner of these different controls, you can just move these individually the way you want to. Now, obviously, as you're working in a form, it would probably be nice to have things line up and to kind of look nice the way you want that to look. Maybe a lot of people are going to be using your database. So one way to do this would be to align your controls, and certainly this would be a way to customize your form a little bit by having good control alignment and maybe having controls in the place that you want them to be. So in this case, I want to align these labels first. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and I'm going to select these 3 labels. And I'm going to right click and go to align, and I'll go left. So these are aligned on the leftmost edge of these controls, which is the customer name label. And I now have those lined up on the left hand side. Then I'll do the same thing with my text box controls. And I'll line these up on the right edge. And that may not be the best alignment, but it's going to give you kind of a illustration how you can do this. So alright, so I've got my controls, I've got them lined up. And you can certainly do the same thing horizontally, so their top edges or bottom edges are aligned the way you want them to be. Again, with these controls, you can make them a little bit bigger if you need to. So you can kind of work this as you need to, based on the size of the information you think you're going to have in those different fields. So a lot of different options here as you kind of work in this area. Now, one thing you may want to do is perhaps I want to replace the customer ID field with a different type of control, maybe a combo box. So a combo box could be something that would be like a list box, and you can scroll through the records and see the combo box and hit the drop-down button to see the option or the different values available in that table. So a combo box control is a nice thing to put in for customization. To do that, you want to make sure you come up here in the controls area that your Use Control Wizards button is pushed in, so you have the wizard available, and it'll kick in once you put that control on your form. So to do this, the combo box option button is right here, and you're just going to click and then drag on down. Oops, just need to do one click. And click once and then release, and then you'll come down, you'll see the control icon will follow your mouse pointer. And then you click in the approximate area that you want that combo box at. So I'm just going to put that right here toward the top. And now the wizard kicks into play right away. First thing it asks is, what do you want this box to do? And I want the combo box to look up values in a table or query. That looks good. So I'll hit next. We're going to go with the table customers, where this is going to come from, that field. So I'll hit next. It's going to be a customer ID field, so I'll zap that on over. I'll hit next. I'm going to put these in ascending order. You can adjust the width, which is not a big deal because you can always adjust the width on these controls whenever you want. For storing this information, you either remember the value for later use, like in a macro situation, or store that value in a field, and we'll choose a customer ID field. We'll hit next, and then label. We'll just call this customer ID. So this will go for the actual label control. That says combo 3 right now. I'll hit finish, and there is my combo box control for my customer ID field. Now, since I got this created, I can go ahead and delete this other one I've got set up now. So easy enough to do. With these combo box controls, I can maneuver them just like anything else. So again, you can put that wherever you want it to. I'll save this form, and we'll take a look at it in a form view. Let's call it form 3. Then we'll go into form view so you can kind of see how this combo box control looks, customer ID, and the 1 shows up there, and 2, and so on. So some nice options there that you can work with, and to display information kind of in a different way. All right, one last thing I'll do, I'll put a logo up here on my form. We looked at using a logo earlier on in the term. And again, using logos can be kind of a nice way to enhance the appearance of anything. So I will click on the logo button. And from here, I'll go to my desktop. And again, this will just be one of the ways you could go ahead and customize your form. Having a logo is always a nice way to do it. So you can see the form header gets put in automatically. So the form header is just an area on the top of the form that can be used for things like a logo. So you can position this where you want to. Then I'll go save, and I'll hit enter, or I'll go back to form view, and now this is how my form looks at this point. So certainly a lot of different ways you can customize your forms. There's no one way that's best than the other. So whatever you choose this week, you got to do at least 3 customizations and write a short little half-page paper and why you did it that way. That will work out fine. So if you have any questions this week, please contact me, and hope you have a good week 6. Thanks.